one that was laying down sleeping with people. I shouldn't have to go through this. I'm 26 years old with my own kid.
It doesn't matter because I'm your mama and I'm your daddy, and that's what I've been. So
no, you're not my daddy. You ain't my mama. You can save it. You can save it.
In paternity court, there are bad parents, and there are crackheads who happen to be the absolute worst. Mr. Muhammad was present in court to prove that he was the father of the defendant's child, and the only reason she was denying him was because she wanted to be with another man. He began his case like this.
Mr. Muhammad, you are here to prove that you are the father of the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Brooklyn. You claim the only reason she is denying paternity is because she wants to be in a relationship with the other man. Is that correct?
Yes, Sean.
Mr. Muhammad is definitely not ready to allow another man to raise his child. He is ready to fight to the end to prove he is the father, but the defendant, Miss Walton, has some truth bombs of her own to tell the judge. Apparently, she had been cheating on Mr. Muhammad around the window of conception.
I say that because during my conception date, I was having more sexual intercourse with the other guy than Mr. Muhammad.
And you were having sex with this other guy behind his back, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Muhammad around the time Brooklyn was conceived?
Okay, the nature of our relationship was Anwar was already having an affair with another woman.
Is Ms. Walton trying to say she started cheating because she found out Mr. Muhammad was having an affair? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Ms. Walton went on to tell the judge that they were not in a relationship when their daughter was conceived. In her words, they were just living together. But was that really the case?
So you're saying you were in a relationship?
In a relationship.
And you're saying you were not in a relationship when Brooklyn was conceived?
No, we was not in a relationship. We were just living together.
Wow.
And you have an older child together, am I correct?
Yes, 4 years old.
So how did you manage to sneak around with the other guy behind Mr. Muhammad's back?
Well, what happens is we was sneaking off to the hotel.
Wow. With that smirk on her face, trust me, she does not feel bad for cheating on her boyfriend. Now, when Ms. Walton found out she was pregnant, she didn't tell Mr. Muhammad at all. She ran to the other guy she was sleeping with and told him she might be having a baby. But Mr. Muhammad remembered the situation like this.
The moment I found out I was pregnant, I texted guy and I told him I missed my period. Mr. Muhammad, during that time who was living with me, got my phone, looked at the text message, and confronted me.
Ain't wrong. That's wrong, Your Honor. What happened was I came home, she sleep, I looked at her phone, I started seeing a full-fledged text message about having sex, all that stuff. Y'all having a full relationship.
Now that's funny. Looks like Mr. Muhammad missed having his woman in his bed, and that just sent signals of suspicion to his brain. As a result, he could not believe anything she told him. Filled with so much suspicion, Mr. Muhammad decided to snoop through Ms. Walton's phone, and the things he saw left everyone speechless.
Your Honor, he found out through my cell phone. He's the type that like to go through your cell phone. He even took my cell phone for 2 months.
2 months?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm paying the bill.
I never took a cell. Only
Yes,
time
ma'am.
I, only,
yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor,
He took
only
my
time
cell
I
phone,
took, Your Honor.
and he took my cell phone and he looked at the text message, which I texted the guy and told him. He confronted me and asked me, why are you texting this guy? And I told him, I said, well, it's a possibility I could be pregnant.
I thought that was your cousin.
Like I said, Ms. Walton sure doesn't look like she regrets cheating on Mr. Muhammad. Moving on, when it came to the window of conception, Mr. Muhammad and Ms. Walton had different memories of the dates and when they believed their child was conceived. Here's how they both remember the events.
I know the date. The date was February 21st in my mama's house, in the bathroom. We was in the mood. She was in the mood. She go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom after. That's the date that we have Brooklyn.
Do you remember this day, Ms.
On the
Walton?
scene.
Your Honor, I remember us having sex at my house, not his mother's house.
It's really hard not to feel sad for Mr. Muhammad. He would give anything for that child to be his, but Ms. Walton just had to break his heart. Judge Lauren decides to dig deeper by asking Ms. Walton why she believes the other man is the father of her child and not Mr. Muhammad, and then this happens.
Oh, I take care of him too.
No,
I take
you do
care
not.
of him too. I ask you all the time.
Listen, I'm trying to understand the logic. Like, as I listen to your testimony, Ms. Walton, honestly, I keep saying to myself, well, what reason does she have to make up this lie? Like, you've got one baby with the man, so you're stuck with him. And if you had another one with him, you all would just be co-parenting and figuring that out. What benefit is it?
That explains why she wants the other man to be the father of the child. She feels the other man would be a much better father than Mr. Muhammad. Interesting. That wasn't the only shocking thing. When Judge Lauren asked Ms. Walton if she had a relationship with the other man, this was the truth bomb she dropped.
So do you want to be with this other man too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now it makes sense.
Now, that's what she wants. She trying to make that baby belong to this man. That I don't even know this man.
Have you started that relationship?
No,
Ain't gonna work.
No.
Ain't gonna
Well,
work.
why?
he's married for number one.
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Married for number one.
Your Honor. Your Honor.
That came as a shock to the judge. Anyway, this is the end of the line for Ms. Walton's lies and delusion. The results are in, and Judge Lauren is more than ready to find out who the father of the child is. This was her verdict.
Mr. Muhammad, you are the father.
Yes. I told you. I know what I'm talking about, baby. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
Right now, you have 2 children together. Let's stop making this a fight. Do you understand?
Yes.
I feel like everything between you 2 is a fight.
Your Honor, if she can pay...
Mr. Muhammad, you got to learn when to be quiet.
In this case, Ms. Looper thought she had met the love of her life, but sadly that wasn't the case. She claimed that after she gave birth to her fraternal twins, the defendant, Mr. Downs, started to deny being the father of the twins, but there was more to the story. She open-eyed her case, saying,
Ms. Looper, you say you thought the defendant was a respectful, church-going family man who turned out to be anything but. You claim that after giving birth to your twins, Brayley and Bishop, Mr. Downs denied fathering your babies. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
a lot of open doors? It looks like Ms. Looper wasn't ready to let go of the other men in her life. Judge Lauren then asked Mr. Downs to give his account of what he saw when he went through Ms. Looper's phone. He claimed that she was receiving advances from other men to sleep with them while they were together.
Just something told me to pick up the phone, and I did it. And I'm looking through the phone. I'm like, okay. And I bring it to her, and I'm seeing messages from other dudes and all this other stuff. So I'm like, what is this?
What kind of messages did you see from other guys?
Messages are just trying to, hook up with her and stuff like that. So
Is
I'm
she
like,
accepting the advancement?
yeah.
Can they slow things down? Where the hell are they running to? A wedding date in 2 months is just crazy. Now, Ms. Looper claimed that when she found out she was pregnant, Ms. Downs was the happiest man on earth. He didn't let her raise a finger to do anything, but deep in his mind, he had doubts.
He was really nonchalant about it, but once I did get pregnant, he was amazing. Cedric rubbed my feet, rubbed my belly. He would get up at 2 a.m., go get me ice and hot Cheetos. He took me to every ultrasound appointment if he didn't have work. Like, the pregnancy was good. We moved out of my 2-bedroom apartment. We got a 4-bedroom house. Like, it was good.
I want to know, what did you send in this text?
I just sent him a picture of the pregnancy test.
As I said, even though he was nice towards Ms. Looper, he had his doubts. When Ms. Looper gave birth to her fraternal twins, something crazy happened. The moment Mr. Downs saw the first twin, he immediately asked the doctors if he could get DNA done. He claimed one of the twins looked like him, and the other was the complete opposite.
As soon as they brought Brayley into the room, the first thing he said was, "Do you guys do DNA tests here? I've never had a kid come out that light." That's the first thing he said when he seen her. But he did go see my son, and he did say that he looked like him.
So when you saw Brayley, you had questions instantly. You didn't feel like you could be her father.
I mean, I know it don't really matter about the complexion and stuff, but like I said, all my kids favor me just extremely, you know what I'm saying? And I looked at Bishop.
He is not wrong about that. Here's where things get insane. Before the pregnancy, Ms. Looper told the other man she was sleeping with that he could possibly be the father of her child. After dropping that truth bomb, this was the next thing she said.
Not during the pregnancy. During my pregnancy, I was sure that it was Cedric's. Twins run in his family. We were together the whole time. The timeline, everything just added up. After I had the baby, I posted Brayley on Snapchat, and the other guy who the messages he seen wrote me and sent me a picture of his daughter and told me that, I believe that that's my daughter.
When it came to discussing the birth certificate, Mr. Downs and Ms. Looper got into an argument, and they just couldn't seem to get their story straight. Ms. Looper thought he refused to sign the birth certificate because he didn't want to be the father of her twins. But Mr. Downs explained his reason to the judge as more than that.
You leave the hospital, you need to sign a birth certificate. He never asked me about a birth certificate. He never signed it. His cousin took us home from the hospital. If he wanted to sign a birth certificate, he could have asked me to do it.
Out. I can't.
I didn't even sign the birth certificate.
Did you not sign the birth certificate, Mr. Downs, because you really had a doubt?
As me being a father, like I said, I've never had to deal with any suspicion of any of my other kids.
That must really hurt. I honestly wouldn't want to be in Mr. Downs' shoes. To complicate things even further, Mr. Downs claimed that there was a chance he could be the father of one of the twins, while the other man could be the father of the other. This was the reason he gave for making that statement.
Do you feel like you could be the father of one twin and someone else be the father of the other?
Yes, ma'am. I just like with Bishop, I felt a much bigger bond with my son. Like every time I see him when we video chat, like his face just lights up when I'm talking to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He knows my face, he knows who I am. And Brayley does too, to an extent, but it's just something about my son, man, when I see him and it's like we connect.
I'm going to side with Judge Lauren on that. It is beyond fascinating. After a while, their relationship went sour, and things weren't as beautiful as they used to be. Without giving any warning, Ms. Looper decided to disappear with the kids, and that just didn't sit right with Mr. Downs.
I get text messages, phone calls, hey baby, what are you doing? We miss you, we love you, da-da-da-da, this and that. I didn't get nothing one day, and I just knew something was wrong. So I get to my house, and there's nobody there. My kids are gone, she's gone, and the first thing in my mind, because my door's unlocked too.
Right.
So I'm thinking somebody done came in my house, anybody could have did something to my kids, my girl. So I'm like, man, what's going on? So I'm calling.
As far as their relationship is concerned, let's just say they will never get back together. All that matters now is finding out who the father of the twins is, and Judge Lauren is about to reveal the DNA result. Could Mr. Downs really be the father of one of the twins?
When it comes to 5-month-old Brayley Downs, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Downs, you are not the father. Mr. Downs, you are not the father. I'm very sorry. Miss Looper, do you know who the children's father is?
Yep.
Ms. Hall and her mother were furious at the defendant for refusing to help take care of their baby. The defendant, Mr. Richards, on the other hand, believed the reason she was trying to pin the baby on him was that she was obsessed with him, and there was no way he could be the father of the child.
Ms. Hall, you and your mother are furious with the defendant because he denies your 1-month-old son, Damani, and does nothing to support him. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Richards, you believe that Ms. Hall is claiming you are the father because she wants to be with you. You say Ms. Hall was thirsty for love and she needs to go find her child's real dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Her mother is quite furious, that's for sure. Ms. Hill claimed that a couple of years back, she and Mr. Richards used to date, and things didn't work out so well. Mr. Richards then reached out to her again, and she decided to give him another chance. But as you would expect, Mr. Richards had a different story to tell the judge.
A couple years back, he broke my heart. Then he hit me up, and I decided to give him another chance.
You all were boyfriend and girlfriend a couple years ago, or you were just dating?
We're dating.
And so he breaks your heart?
Yes.
And you didn't see each other for a while?
Yeah.
And then somehow he comes back into the picture because if he's potentially the father of
he instant
Damani,
messages her, hitting her up.
Even Judge Lauren could not make sense of what Mr. Richards was trying to say. She decided to ask him to explain what he meant by the word thirsty. Trust me, what he said next left everyone in the courtroom in shock.
I knew I wasn't gonna have a long relationship with her, but when you feed somebody the lines that you know they wanna hear, that's thirst to get what you want from them.
Oh!
But yet now it's a baby involved with your thirst.
And now I feel like she's being thirsty, trying to put the baby on me.
But you got nothing.
So,
I must got something if you
just
want
get it.
something.
So
That's why we're
thirst,
here.
wait, so thirst is manipulation.
Yeah.
Wow! That explains why Ms. Hill's mom is furious to the bone. Mr. Richards is just a horrible person. Now, when Mr. Richards reached out to Ms. Hill again, deep down in her heart, she was happy to hear from him. She had no idea he was back to break her heart a second time. This was how she explained the situation.
It ended bad, but in the same token, I did like him. So when he hit me up, it kind of like, oh, I think I should give him another chance. Maybe it'll work out this time. But
All right. At what point, so you all start obviously having sex again?
yeah,
Using protection all the time or not?
no, not at all.
So, how long did this relationship go on?
Mr. Richards is definitely here for a good time, not for a long time. I mean, how do you just get back together and after a week you call it quits? That's crazy. Mr. Richards, trying to defend himself, claimed that he went through her phone and saw some funny texts, but Judge Loren slammed him like this.
I grabbed her phone and went through her phone, and the text message is from someone saying that I'm outside. So when I go outside to get the water, I look across the street, it's the same dude I see coming out the gate. So I'm like, whoa, I didn't say anything, and I probably spent the rest of that day on the couch till the bus came. Bus came, I hopped on the bus. Soon as I got on the bus, officially on the bus, I sent the message, like, I seen the messages in your phone.
Moving on, when Ms. Hill found out she was pregnant, she refused to tell Mr. Richards about the pregnancy. She claimed she was still hurt and had not let go of how disrespectful he was to her during their time together, but her mom advised her to tell Mr. Richards about the pregnancy, so so he could not deny not knowing about the baby.
Knew, but I didn't want to tell him because how we broke up and how disrespectful he was to me.
So you just kept it to yourself?
Yeah, I didn't tell nobody until me and my mom sat down and she asked me because the conception date.
When she told me her due date.
That didn't come as a shock. It's obvious he was going to deny the baby. Mr. Richards, however, kept telling the judge that there was another guy in the picture that Ms. Hill was refusing to reveal. Judge Lauren then decided to press further and ask her about the guy. And this was the confession that came out.
You testified earlier that this was some random man that lived in the house behind your house, and he was just leaving out of his house through the gate. So do we know him or we don't know him? Is he giving you gifts or is he not giving you gifts? What is this? So it's not a man that lived in the house. It was a man that was pursuing you.
Yeah, but he wasn't there that day.
So there was actually another guy in the mix. Looks like Mr. Richard wasn't lying after all. It was only right that Judge Lauren asked Mr. Richard if he saw any other evidence that made him doubt the paternity of the child. He responded to the question like this.
What else?
Other than me seeing that guy in the messages, there was just my relative heard from one of her relatives that she was living with the man the whole time she was pregnant with another
ain't
man.
never lived with
nobody.
Well, not lived with him, he lived with her, whatever.
He's saying hearsay because he don't even know that to be true.
But
he just bringing up something like he did with the brother.
That's just through the grapevines, you know, like.
Well, I guess that takes us to the DNA results. Mr. Richards was not going to accept being the father unless the results revealed that he was, and so here comes Judge Lauren's verdict.
Mr. Richards, you are the father.
Thank you.
You are the father.
Thank you.
That's your beautiful little boy. How's it feel?
Like being a dad all over again.
How do you feel in this moment, Miss Hall? I see tears in your eyes. What are you feeling?
I'm angry because he made me like I'm just trying to frame him when I didn't want him to be my baby daddy.
In this episode, Ms. Myers is quite upset with her mom because she has no idea who her biological father is. Out of a list of 13 possible men, Ms. Myers was hoping she could determine who her biological father was in the courtroom. She started her case like this.
Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because you claim she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today. The court has located 2 of the 13 men and has already ordered paternity tests to be administered. Ms. Madrigal.
That's just sad. She hasn't had a male figure in her life since she was 13. Judge Lauren then proceeded to ask her where the list of 13 men who could potentially be her father came from. To everyone's surprise, she said the list came from her mom.
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name, you know, and I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Okay, Ms. Madrigal, as you're giving your daughter this list, and I do not mean this in a joking way,
Right.
You couldn't narrow it down from 13?
You know,
Now, these two have definitely been at each other's throats over the years, but all Ms. Myers wants is to know who her dad is. Ms. Myers then went on to explain to the judge how hard it has been growing up without a father figure in her life. She started like this.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my heritage. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I came from. I don't know nothing.
You came from me.
Yeah, I knew you're half of the family, but that's only half the story.
Nobody else matters.
That's only half the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can, even though it doesn't even matter. So save it.
You
Save
raised
it.
me?
Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't.
I raised you.
You weren't
Monica,
even there.
stop
So
it.
anyways.
I'm not sure God is going to approve of these women bringing his name into their mess. Moving on, this daughter and mother brawl was starting to fly out of the roof. Her mother, Ms. Madrigal, tried explaining to the judge why she wasn't sure who her daughter's father was. But before she could finish the statement, Ms. Myers came at her like this.
But you gotta realize I was 17. So any calculation within that time, I could have been way off and not known. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the
Now she
timing.
admits
It's
to
in the
the list.
timing. Okay.
The list that is also missing out of my diary.
Really, Monica?
Yeah,
the list
that's
that you
missing out of my
fabricated, the
diary.
13 ghosts you got in the book?
Where's it at? It's gone.
Now, Ms. Myers had met with 2 of the 13 men on the list, and the judge asked her if she was excited to have both men tested as possible fathers. She was excited and irritated at the same time. She claimed she hated one of the men in question and hoped that he would not end up being her father.
At one or both of those names?
It's an evil smile and a happy smile.
An evil smile and a happy smile. Well, who's the evil smile for?
Keith.
Keith. So I take it we don't care for him.
I don't like him. I hate him with a passion.
Wow.
Did you see?
Why do you feel that way?
He's just inappropriate with me. When I'm at the airport, he's talking about how sexy I am.
But you are. You're beautiful. So I mean, what's that? Maybe a compliment?
I don't know about you, but that compliment sounded a bit extreme. Judge Lauren decided to bring in one of the two men in question to try to determine who her biological father could be. Here's how that little situation played out.
You know, we got together, she came over, she told me she thought I was sexy, whatever, good looking. Okay, we had sex, it was a 3-minute thing. You know, 3 minutes.
She confirmed it. He swore to tell the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Okay. So, how did you find out that Ms. Madrigal was pregnant?
I did not know she was pregnant, Your Honor. I'm walking downtown Seattle where we live.
Trust me, that was quite hilarious to listen to. Mr. McCraney was in court with his daughter, and when she was asked to share what she knew and how she felt about the situation, it was one hell of an outburst in the courtroom.
As far as Monica's concerned, she's talking about, oh, he's this and he's that. Well, if that's the case, then how come you got his picture on Facebook with you and your mom talking about, oh yeah, well, is this person my dad and blah, blah, blah.
I did that because I wanted people
but
to see.
If he's such a bad guy, then why would you even put him on Facebook and say, oh yeah, well, is he my dad?
Like I said, it was one hell of an outburst. Now, the other potential father, out of all the men, walks into the courtroom and is asked to give his side of the story of how he met Ms. Myers' mother. He began his side of the story like this.
Around the age 19 to 20, we had a brief encounter of sex. And then one day I seen Samantha and she gave me a baby picture and told me that you're possibly the father of this child. And then I did not see her for quite a long time after that. One day I was coming out of a building and Samantha drove up with Monica in the back seat.
Crackheads all over the courtroom. That's all I can say because this is one huge mess. The only way out of this is to reveal the DNA results. For Ms. Myers' sake, I hope she finds out who her real father is.
Mr. Smith, you are not Monica's father.
I never thought I'd have to hear that. I still love you, though.
It's okay.
I promise that.
I'll still be there for you, okay?
Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Did you faint, Mr. McCraney?